And welcome on in to another episode of Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. I'm Terry, that's Dave, and we are ready to break down some baseball. We should have Bryant and Nick both back tomorrow, maybe Tim as well. But today, Dave and I are going to break down a pretty good slate, actually, for a Monday. It's a bigger slate than usual, and there's actually some pretty good games here that we'll break down. We will jump right into the first one that I chose for today, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cincinnati Reds. You can find Philadelphia minus 175 to minus 190, Cincinnati plus 140 to plus 162, nines, a couple 9.5s. And if you were looking for Phillies on the run line, you'd be looking at about minus 110. And if you wanted to take Cincinnati plus 1.5, you'd be looking at around plus money. Also minus 105, minus 110 as well, depending on which side you like here. For me, Philly is good against lefties. Fifth in the MLB against lefties and OPS. But the main reason why I'm backing Philadelphia in this spot is because of Noah Syndergaard. He does well against the Reds, 6-0 against Cincinnati in his career with a 2.11, 2.11 ERA. And he's won both games in Cincinnati that he's played with a 1.42 ERA and has 18 strikeouts and 12.2 innings in Cincinnati. And I didn't write down his strikeout numbers overall against Cincinnati, but they're pretty high. So that's something else I was keeping in mind here. And he's been hitting around 6 to 8 strikeouts lately. So I got his, 3 to 6 strikeouts. I got over 5.5 strikeouts, plus 124 for Syndergaard here. Cincinnati is one of the worst teams in the MLB when it comes to striking out. They are striking out a lot, averaging 11 strikeouts per game in their last 3 games. I think Syndergaard is able to get some strikeouts here. And I took Philadelphia first 5, minus a half for minus 120. I look for the Phillies to have the lead here. Yes, the Phillies have been shut out in a few of their games lately, but you have to look at who they were facing. And as much as I hate to say it, the Mets do have the best pitching in baseball. I think that's pretty fair thing to say. And the Phillies did get shut out by the Mets. But Cincinnati, definitely not the Mets. And the pitching is definitely not the same as the Mets. So I like Philadelphia to kind of take it to the Reds here in the first 5 and Syndergaard to strike some guys out. Dave, Phillies and Reds, what do you think here?
Yeah, a team that I usually never bet to like and or like to bet, and now another team, that's the Phillies. I've said that before. And another team that is dead to me in the NL Central. There's a list that's growing. The Brewers, the Cardinals, and now the Reds. They didn't do me so well in that series versus the Cubs in the Field of Dreams game. But I totally agree with Philadelphia. This isn't a pick that I posted. It is one that I'm betting. And the Phillies have been not just good, they've been fantastic the past 2 or 3 weeks versus left-handed pitching. I mean, just ridiculous numbers. 352 average, 1,093 OPS. I can't even say it because it's past a decimal point. 315 isolated power and 202 WRC plus. So they're generating runs against left-handed pitching. That to me is an easy first 5 inning bet. I'm not going to even look at Noah Syndergaard, who I'm not high on, so I don't have a side in this. I don't even know who'd win this game. And then Cincinnati's bullpen has actually been better than Philadelphia's. But I like the first 5 innings. The Philadelphia Phillies team total is at 2.5. I think it's juiced to minus 125, but I think that's a really good number.
For sure. What's going on, fellas? Glad to catch this live. Thanks for coming on in. Schwarber is out today. So, all right, that's one guy out for the Phillies. He is a big bat, but I'm still not worried here against this Reds team.
He only does 1 of 2 things. He hits a home run or he strikes out, or gets out.
Yeah. We'll go on to this next game here. A really interesting one. So we'll go over it here. The Padres, you can find them minus 137 to minus 151. Miami plus 115 to plus 125. 6.5s right across the board in this one. I've not got to an official bet in this, but if I was going to take anything, it would be the over 6.5 here in this one. I backed Sandy Alcantara all year long. He has made me money pretty much all year long. But in his last couple starts here, something Nick said recently, these pitchers that haven't really pitched that much in their careers. I know Sandy has pitched, but still a somewhat young pitcher and getting into a lot of innings here as of late, giving up 4 earned runs, 8 hits against Philly. The Phillies, 4 earned runs and 8 hits against the Mets. Did have a very good game against Cincinnati, but seems like when he's been facing good teams as of lately, he has been giving up more runs than he usually does. So he's kind of been a little bit less consistent. Still a very good pitcher. On the other side, Musgrove, he had a really great start to the year as well, but kind of falling off a little bit here as of late. So if anything, I would go with the over. I think 6.5 is a low number. I think it's 6.5 because it is Musgrove against Alcantara. But if anything, I would go to the over here. Not something I've got to yet, but leaning that way. Dave, Padres, Marlins, what do you think here?
Yeah, I'm going to continue to back Sandy. You know, Joe Musgrove, he's a great pitcher, but he did something last year, and I think it's going to happen this year. He tailed off. Actually, it only took him the first couple months of the season, but Joe Musgrove tailed off towards the end of the season. I think that keep that up because I want to mention that right there, by the way. But I think there's going to be regression. I also think the Padres, even though they've pumped it up a little bit, I think they've been overrated. Getting Juan Soto is great, but they versus the Dodgers, they were, equal odds, and the Dodgers on the run line were getting plus money, and they're just not the same team. And the Marlins, they're not a big hitting team, but Sandy, you know, he's in the conversation for the I was going to say the Heisman, the Cy Young. I'm already ready for football for the Cy Young award, and I'm going to back him. And here's the thing: you see, the Marlins. Ratzo said Marlins first 5, but Padres win the game. I'm not going to bet that, but that's exactly what happened in Sandy's last game versus the Phillies. I won the first 5, and then the Phillies ended up winning the game. He's the type of pitcher that does that. He's going to lock him down. And also the Marlins give him run support. The Marlins aren't a great offensive team this year, but Sandy averages 4 runs, or the Marlins average 4 runs when Sandy's pitching, which is actually good. So I like the first 5 Marlins. That's an official bet, getting some plus money at plus 108. You can also see how good Sandy is too, because the full game money line is Marlins plus 125, but the first 5 is almost plus 100. That just shows you how strong of a pitcher he is.
Yeah, and totally right. The 4 teams, he has allowed 4 plus earned runs against the Mets twice, Philly once, and Seattle. Just in 2 of his last 3 games, that's happened. So I'm thinking that it's possible. He's still a very good pitcher, and I still do want to back him. But I think he can probably give up around 2 or 3 runs in this. If he gives up 2, Musgrove gives up 2. The bullpens can certainly give up another 2 or another 3 to get it over, in my opinion. If you're not familiar with Sandy, you get 2 earned or less. Yeah, he has been very good this year, for sure. And Keith says Padres are not a good team.
Well, I think they're actually, on paper, a really good team. It's too new. We need to see what's going to happen. It took them a while to get going once they got that trade. It took them 6 or 7 games.
And I don't think the Tatis news is really going to do anything good for that locker room.
Yeah.
Or for the bullpen, I don't think it's going to help them.
Yeah, he can stick to doing. It's funny is in the past few days I've seen more of his Dairy Queen and Gatorade commercials. So all that endorsement money just got wasted.
Yeah. We'll go into the next game here. Of course, this one is going to be on the slate. Baltimore in Toronto here for this one. Late news that was just announced right before the show started. George Springer is back in the lineup, and Bradley Zimmer has been DFA'd, which is good news for the Blue Jays here. We'll look at the odds. Baltimore plus 125 to plus 140. Toronto minus 150 to minus 160. Nines, some 8.5s available. I took the 9 earlier. You can get 9 at plus 100 now, which I think is absolutely crazy. I think it's absolutely crazy. The last 7 meetings in Toronto between these two teams have all gone over 9.5. And the last 12 meetings overall between these two teams, Toronto and Baltimore, have all gone over 9.5. I don't see Kikuchi and Bradish and think that anything is going to change here. Yes, Toronto's offense has not been hitting on all cylinders as of late, but the history between these two teams, the fact that George Springer is coming back, I think that's going to give the lineup a little bit of a boost. Hopefully he is 100%, but even at 85 to 90%, he'll give a boost to that lineup. So I like runs in this one. I took the over 9 at minus 110. It's plus 100 now. I absolutely love that play. It's my best bet. So I'll give it out a little bit early. I like the over 9 in this one. Dave, Orioles, Blue Jays. What do you think here?
Yeah, I'd agree completely. I thought the Blue Jays are still going to go to the playoffs, but I thought that they were going to be the hot team the second half, and they started off that way after the All-Star break, and they've petered out. Look, these two pitchers are awful. I just think I'm looking at this two ways. One is I'm going with a guy that I think is less awful, and by the way, I agree with a lot of runs. There's going to be a lot of runs in this game, but I think Bradish, however you say his name, is slightly less worse than Kikuchi. And then when you go to the bats and you look at the Orioles the past few weeks versus left-handed pitching and the Blue Jays versus right-handed pitching, it's night and day. So I'm going with the hotter bats and the slightly less worse pitcher, if that's the right way to say it. And I'm going with the Orioles money line first 5 innings. I don't know who wins the game, but I'm getting plus 135, I think, for that bet. I think there's a lot of value in the Orioles here with the hotter bats.
All right. What about bullpens? What do you think is the better bullpen?
I think that let me pull it up again.
The only reason I ask is because I did get these interesting stats last night. Kikuchi's actually allowed 3 or less runs in 14 of his 19 starts and has allowed 2 or less in 4 of his last 6 starts. I mentioned that on Tim's show, Tim and Nick, and they made sure to let me know that he has not been going very long into games.
Yeah, I know.
Most likely he'll be gone after 4 or so innings. But if he gives up 2 earned runs, I think that's pretty good for Kikuchi. I think he could be. I think he's being. What is it? Overlooked a little bit. I'm not saying he's a good pitcher. I'm not even trying to say that, but yeah. I think he's being a little bit. He's not quite Dallas Keuchel.
He's not the worst starting pitcher in the major leagues, but he's definitely the worst starting pitcher on that staff. And I'd say way under expectation. I don't know what Bradish's expectations are, but they're both not good pitchers. Kikuchi is just, I think, a little bit worse. And like I said, it's mostly an offensive play. I like Orioles bats, but I'll tell you the bullpens the past 2 weeks are almost identical. The Baltimore Orioles are 3.51 ERA, 2.32 OBA, and 1.12 WHIP. Toronto is 3.57 ERA, almost identical, 2.50 OBA, and 1.31 WHIP. The only thing is according to XFIP and FIP numbers, which I'm not super into, but Baltimore's pitching way worse than expectation, the bullpen, and Toronto's pitching a slightly better than expectation. So they're almost equal, maybe a slight lean to the Orioles, but and then you can get into away and home stats. I'm cutting all that out. I'm staying the first 5 in the hotter bats. It's just easier, less variables.
For sure. If anybody wanted a Baltimore Orioles player prop, For whatever reason, Ryan Mountcastle completely owns the Blue Jays. I believe he had like a 20-game no-hit streak or something like that. And of course, he faces the Blue Jays and hits a home run pretty early on in the game. So if anybody was looking at a player prop for Baltimore, I will probably be looking at it. He is questionable, he was listed as questionable. If Ryan Mountcastle is out and not playing tonight, I think that would push me towards the Blue Jays because he is a very good player for Baltimore. But if he is in the lineup, look at him for a home run, depending on the price. Maybe an RBI, 2+ bases, whatever you're looking for there. We'll go to the comments here. Kikuchi has gone more than 5 innings once. Yeah, so we'll probably see the bullpens, especially for the Jays. Detroit, Cleveland, yes, run first inning, just cashed. Nice, Richie. I have absolutely nothing in either of those games, Detroit and Cleveland. Obviously, Cleveland, the hotter team, so they should win. And it's Detroit, so they definitely should win. But going on, BetStamp, use code WILD. Find whatever odds you are looking for. Get the best odds for whatever you are betting today. We will go on to the next game. We'll quickly look at this game here. I'll bring this one up before we go to the next one. I didn't bet this game, but this is a very interesting one. Oakland, Texas. You can find 8.5. I lean to the over in this one. Didn't get to it, but just these pitchers have these two teams have gone over when they faced each other in the past. Even though a lot of people were thinking Oakland's offense, there's no way it could go over. The games did go over, and I backed it previously. Caprillion has played a little bit better as of late, so that's ultimately what kept me off it. But maybe Oakland team total could be a look in this one. But for sure, use BetStamp, code WILD, and find the best odds. We'll go on to the next scheduled game here.
By the way, Texas just fired their manager today.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, it says Detroit just scored. Oh, yeah, because that's what he said. Yes, run first inning. Yeah, so Detroit is leading in game one. Texas firing their manager. I wonder what kind of impact that will have in today's game.
It's the battle of who gives a shit. It's at this point in the season. It's overs, bets, and fading auto and all of that. I didn't even look at this game. These teams are. It's not even. It's on to the next year. Thinking about tomorrow because this year's gone for them.
I get my lineups from. I hate to say it because I gave Nick shit about RotoWire. I use RotoWire for MLB. I do not use it for hockey whatsoever, but I do use it for MLB. There's also people on Twitter, Underdog MLB, that posts lineups. But I just saw when I was looking up the game previously that there was question that Mountcastle might not be in, but Springer was questionable as well. He's in. DX Filer coming in here, throwing in a joke here. Is this the Mets chat? Definitely not. No, I'm just kidding. But this is the Mets. This is not the Mets chat. MLB app or RotoWire? Yes.
Yeah. MLB.com does lineups too. I use RotoWire, but
yeah. Oakland is a live dog. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning there.
Against auto, anyone's a live dog.
Yeah. And DX gets his lineups from Baseball Savant. Never heard of them. Never heard of it, but interesting. I'll have to look it up. And Keith uses Underdog. Nice. We'll go on to this game. One of my favorite games of the night here. We have the Dodgers heading to Milwaukee to face the Brewers. You can find the Dodgers minus 163 to minus 175. Milwaukee is plus 130 to plus 150. 7.5s right across the board in this one. I'm going back to the Dodgers. They lost yesterday, but I'm going right back to them here. Julio Urias, at times this year, was not a pitcher that I wanted to back because there was a stretch there where the Dodgers weren't giving him any run support. But that has changed. He's been good for a long time here. I'll look exactly how many games. He has won his last 5 starts. No decision before that, and he won his previous 4 starts before that. So he has just been winning games right across the board. And then you have this Brewers team, a team that I think is a little bit overrated. I think the St. Louis Cardinals are going to win that division. I think Milwaukee is a good team, and we'll see if they can get a playoff spot here. It looks like it's going to be between them or Philly or San Diego. Really, San Diego with the trades they made shouldn't really be in that question, but they are. They could definitely still miss the playoffs. But in this one here, Dodgers first 5 minus a half, minus 105, and Dodgers run line plus 105. And I also have a 2-teamer with the Philadelphia Phillies and the LA Dodgers both on the money line for plus 147. Dodgers coming off a bad game. I think they go right back to their winning ways here against the Brewers in this one. Dave, Brewers, Dodgers. What do you think here?
Yeah, so the Dodgers, they got shut out yesterday, right? They did.
Did they? I know they lost.
Anyways, I think they were like 2-hitted. The reason why I say that is they were a bet that just made it on my card yesterday. I had the team total over, and I don't think they scored a run. But anyways, the Brewers are a team that I don't bet. I'm not betting them until 2023. I think the only way in this game to play it is the Dodgers team total. It's at 4.5. The problem is it's at plus money, plus 100, which means there's not a ton of faith. I mean, the books don't have as much faith in the Dodgers because that bet should probably be, minus 115 or minus 120 in my opinion. So something's up. I'm thinking about betting it. I'm not quite sure. The Dodgers have been red hot versus right-handed pitching. So I mean, they're the tops in the major leagues. So that's why. And the Milwaukee's bullpen, by the way, hasn't been so great. So that I'm leaning towards Dodgers team total in this game. Over.
Yeah, they did lose 4-0 yesterday.
2 or 3 hits, something like that. Yeah, I shut it off. I was pissed. I didn't. 7th inning, I said screw it.
Yeah, the only times the Dodgers have really looked bad is when they got swept by the Pirates and when they got swept by the Nationals.
Yeah,
earlier on. Those are basically
the only 2 teams the whole season. That's why I agree with that. You shouldn't be betting against the Dodgers even if they lose one game.
And it's possible to say they kind of overlook those teams. But even though the Brewers, in my opinion, are overrated, I don't think the Dodgers are going to overlook them because they are a playoff team at this moment.
I mean, the Dodgers handled the new look Padres in a bad way, and there was a lot of value on the Dodgers there. They were still negative, favorites, but they weren't like minus 180 favorites. They were minus 130. The run lines, some of the run lines were plus money.
I hit on them.
We both did. We smashed it.
Exactly. So going right back to it. The final game I chose before we get to last pitch, the Mariners and the Angels. You can find Seattle plus 100 in one spot. Everywhere else around minus 110, minus 104. You can find Angels minus 105 to minus 112. It's pretty similar odds in this one. 6.5. I see 1.7 available at FanDuel in this game. I'm backing the underdog. I guess you can still technically call them an underdog. They're plus 100 at one spot. I'm backing the underdog Mariners in this one, which I got at plus 100. And I also have Luis Castillo over 7.5 strikeouts at plus 120. We all know that the Angels are one of the top strikeout teams in the league. They strike out the most. And Castillo has been good lately, striking out guys. So I think he can get. I was looking at the over 8.5, which I think was like plus 260 or something. And I was really tempted on that, but I don't want to overdo it. I'll just take the 7.5 at plus 120 and hope that the Mariners have a good game and Castillo can get me some strikeouts. Dave, Mariners and Angels, what do you think in this one?
Yeah, I don't have a bet in this game. I probably won't. I like Luis Castillo a lot. I mean, obviously, Ohtani's Ohtani. We don't even need to talk about him. Just say that name and we know how good he is. But Luis Castillo, since being traded, has pitched against the Yankees twice. He had one quality start, only gave up 3 runs. And then he had one 8-inning shutout performance against the Yankees. I'd lean towards the Mariners. I hate to say that because I am an Angels fan. I also want to see the Mariners win as many games as they can because they are a dark horse, in the AL for sure. But I'm off this game, and I don't hate the strikeout prop. Any strikeout prop versus the Angels is a good one. They're one of the worst teams in baseball in that regard. So,
yeah, for sure. He has had, let's see here, in his last 3 games, 7 strikeouts in his last game against the Yankees.
Yeah.
8 against the Yankees before, and then 8 against Miami before that.
Yeah. And then before the All-Star break, 8 again against the Yankees. The dude can shove. He's a good pitcher. He's an all-star pitcher.
Yeah, that's why I think he can definitely get to 8. If anybody wants to take the over 8.5 and hope he gets to 9 for, I think it was like plus 260, I would not talk you off that. I almost sprinkled on it, but I decided not to go too crazy here. But we'll go along to last pitch and kind of go over anything else in the slate that we have.
Yeah, Patrick Corbin's my prison wife. Earl Sports Bets talking about Patrick Corbin. Whenever I see his name, I get excited. I get turned on.
That was Dallas Keuchel, but for me.
Yeah.
And then somebody mentioned that he was going to be pitching for the Rangers, and I got so excited. I'm like, yes, he's going to. And then it was somebody they had put some rookie in instead.
Yeah, Keuchel's an ATM too, for sure.
Going to last pitch, as I said, I have nothing on either Tigers-Guardians game. Cubs-Nationals, didn't get to that either. If anything, would be a lean to the Cubs, but not going to play anything in that one. Rays and Yankees, I want to take the over. I'm looking at the over. I think it is 7.5. It's 7, minus 115. I want to take the over. Cole has been giving up quite a few runs there in his last couple of home games. He is off a good outing in his last game. The Rays will have Beeks as an opener, and then it sounds like Yarbrough will be pitching for 4 or 5 innings or whatever. So I think that if anything is a good spot, anybody is a good pitcher to face for the Yankees here, it would be Yarbrough. And I think we could get some runs in this game. Just haven't pulled the trigger on it. It might be a game I look at live. I want to see if Cole is on his game or not, and then possibly look at that one live. Mets and Braves, no comment. As I said, no betting Mets games for the rest of the year. Royals Twins. Ryan has kind of fallen apart. He's been giving up runs, quite a bit of runs. Bubic has actually been looking pretty good as of late. So I want to talk anybody off looking at the Royals as an underdog, but I'm not going to get there myself. Astros, White Sox should be a Houston spot, but I'm not going to get involved. And then the final game of the night, Diamondbacks and Giants. Bumgarner against Cobb. Probably another pass for me. I haven't really looked deep into that game, but maybe I'll look towards Arizona. I was leaning so heavily towards Arizona yesterday and did not pull the trigger. And, of course, they won. So, and I think that was your dog of the day, wasn't it, yesterday, Dave?
Yep.
Yeah, so should have listened to you. Should have tailed you on that. Took Arizona, but maybe I'll look at them tonight. We'll see here later on. Last pitch, Dave. Any other baseball games that you like?
So the only other game of the day is my best bet, and I don't know if it's a forbidden thing to talk about, but it's the Mets. Mets first 5. There's 2 reasons why. One, I mean, Strider is a fantastic pitcher. He's a rookie though, and he hasn't pitched that well against the Mets. And as you see pitchers, that only benefits the hitter. So he's starting from a not so great place, and the Mets are smashing right-handed hitting recently. Carrasco, he's plenty good. He's actually pitched pretty well against the Braves, and he's a veteran. So I'm going first 5, and I'm getting. I think I got plus 135. That's disrespectful to the second best team in the National League. I think that's an easy bet, not an easy win, but value galore. So that's my best bet of the day.
Other people can mention the Mets. I just don't want to talk about them.
That's fine.
That's why. And shocking, Earl Sports Bets likes your Mets pick.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed that?
Wow, what a shocker!
Mets have won 7 consecutive series openers. So that's always good to start a series off with a win.
How much of a dog they are, especially first 5. The people must really think. And the Braves have been hitting well too. They're way above average. The Mets are just another step above. They're best 1 or 2 teams hitting teams the past 2 weeks.
Braves first game home off a road trip.
That's a good point.
And Cookie Carrasco's ERA. Yep, we'll definitely have to see what happens there. We will get to the best bets segment here. Let me bring up the screen. Start with over under as we always do. And for me, only one total that I'm on today, and that is Baltimore and Toronto over 9. Tim is taking Baltimore team total over 3.5. And Ryan is taking the Angels and Seattle under 8.5. Dave, what do you think here for over-under?
Again, my worst category. I have 2, but I'm going to pick the one I'm more confident in. That's the Phillies team total, first 5, 2.5 over.
All right. Philly first 5, team total over 2.5. And we will go on to dog of the day. I'm lucky it is plus 100 at one spot. Seattle Mariners, my dog of the day. Nick is going with the New York Mets, and Tim is going with the Baltimore Orioles. Dave, what do you think here? Is there a dog? Well, I know there's a couple dogs you're on, so
yeah. I'm going to go with the Mets too. I think the Mariners is probably the smarter bet on paper, but the
Mets have handled the Braves.
Yeah, it seemed the only reason why I'm not so confident in this game in every way is the really laying more juice. The Braves are laying more juice than I like, and I wonder why. I know they're at home, but this is the Mets this year, so we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. And then LA Seattle should be under 6.5.
Could be.
Oh, that's sorry. Yeah, so that is Ryan's. Oh. It's under 6.5, not 8.5. Type.
But he was given a play.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan, for mentioning it.
He did. Yeah.
But somebody would eventually mention it.
I was gonna say, what are you doing? You're an honest guy, but
Tim says hi, and Carrasco 13-4 in the season, and Keith is leaning under in LA, Milwaukee, so somebody isn't going to get a run. All right, we'll go to best parlay piece here, and for me, Dodgers money line, my best parlay piece. Nick is going with the New York Mets plus 2.5. Tim is going with Miami Marlins plus 1.5. And Ryan is going with Philadelphia Phillies money line. Dave, what do you think for parlay piece?
Oh, I hate all of these. I'm going to pass.
All right.
You know what? I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go with the Astros. I do not like giving out betting advice for bets over like minus 150 for parlay. I just can't do it in my soul. So I'm not betting that, but that looks like a good spot.
All right. We will go on to best bets. And I did say it earlier. My best bet, Baltimore, Toronto over 9. And I will get the best odds for that, which is plus 100 right now. And I'm risking 1 unit. Tempted to put 2 because I really like that, but we'll just go with 1. Just in case Kikuchi does have a miracle good game and stays under somehow. Nick is going with New York Mets money line plus 143 for 1 unit. Tim going big balls here with Oakland and the White Sox plus 450 for 2 units to win 9. And Ryan is going with San Francisco first 5 -0.5, -120. Dave, you mentioned your best bet, and it is
Mets first 5 money line. And I think it's +1. I'll check the odds. +135-ish is what I got it at.
I'll tell you what the best odds are right now. Let's see, +150.
Oh, well, there you go. It shows you how much
money line.
Shows you where I'm on the right side of that one, but we'll see.
And that is the show. Best of luck to everybody in your bets tonight. The NHL preview shows a week tomorrow. We'll be starting those. NFL regular season is right around the corner. Looking forward to that. So make sure to tune in. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, smash like button. Appreciate all the support. And we will see you again tomorrow for another episode, Getting Wild with Terry and Friends. Keith says the A's. And Tim says, hell yeah, the A's. And CT Bay's also on Oakland. I'm kind of tempted too with Caprillian's numbers. But thanks for coming, DX. And you too, CT Bays. Thanks, guys. Have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, guys.